Inside each one of us, there is a place that sleeps with one eye open. It is what lives in dreams and is always asking questions. Each blink of the eye is the beginning or the end of a story, just like this one.
Inside each one of us, there is a place that sleeps with one eye open. It is the place that lives in dreams and that is always asking questions. Each blink of the eye is the beginning or the end of a story, just like this one. Our dreams, our memories are part of, how shall I say it, who we are even at this present moment becoming. So why keep them in the dusty attics of our mind labeled personal effects? Why not dance and play and make stories with them just for the sheer enjoyment of playing together? Our story, The Man Who Eats Books, is set in Southwest India at a time when the door was still open to a more ancient India and the vestiges of its tradition. Our story is a journey back into the past as well as forward into the present. Our story asks the same questions asked of any culture as it changes. What remains? Who bridges the gap between the old and the new? And finally, is love strong enough to bridge that gap? Because our story, The Man Who Eats Books, is first and foremost a love story. I know a man who eats books. That's right, he eats the pages of books. He starts at the very end, very last page of the book, and moves progressively forward, eating. That is all he does. There is a little book about him. The booklet says that he was found in a small cave in the mountainous Ghats near the only tribal village left in Kerala, India. There is no date given. This man believes his sole task in this incarnation is to eat and digest the pages of books. Furthermore, he is quoted in the booklet as saying, "It is my duty to consume words, to extract the essential experiences that lie beneath them, and then excrete the waste." When he is not eating the pages of books, he performs rituals and prayers with bells and water sweetened with wildflowers. There is a rumor that for a while he was brought to the United States by a group of anthropologists. In an attempt to transfer information about our culture, the anthropologists fed him thin, clean pages from volumes of great Western classics, the King James Version of the Bible, Shakespeare, the comedies, followed by the tragedies. After a desperate week in which it appeared that the man who eats books would starve, a message arrived from the village near the cave where he lives in Kerala, India. Feed him pages handwritten by the people living around him. And so the anthropologists fed him simple handwritten pages, some scribbles, postcards, post-it notes, all of which he ate. When the man returned home to his native place, his diet had changed. He would only eat handwritten pages. He particularly favored pages that no one had read before. Later, they say, he began eating spoken words. Two other characters in our story include an American woman, my age, who has returned to Kerala, India to visit her teacher from many years ago. Although still a relatively young man, her teacher is sick, at times mentally unstable, and she is afraid that he is actually dying. Her teacher, or Ashan, is one of the few great performers left in a long lineage that has studied, practiced, and taught the great classical theater called Kathakali. But now, no serious students are studying Audiences have dwindled. People are no longer interested in listening to the great mythic stories. Kathakali is everything the Ashan has lived for and treasured. The great art form is dying. The American woman believes that she can help her Ashan heal if only she can find someone, anyone, who truly values and appreciates Kathakali. She is preoccupied with a book, handwritten by her teacher, that contains a record of the practice, training, and myriad accounts of performance over a lifetime of study, practice, and teaching. Perhaps translating this book will restore her Ashan's interest in life. Our story opens in a village bungalow in Kerala, India. It is the monsoon time, damp, rainy. From inside the bungalow, a man's voice echoes, "You stole my book." But that was not my intention. "You stole my book when I went to look for it. It was not there." "Nyan pustakam ididitila." I did not steal your book. I went to find someone who could translate your memories. Do skeletons rattle when they're angry? Do angry bones need to be listened to? Or is it possible to dismiss them as the sounds of a ghost who, "The doctor, he wants to kill me." And I, the friend of your heart, am now the thief who steals your memories. "Satyamilya, Ashan, he wants to kill me." "Ashan, it is not true. How many times must I tell you? You will come to your senses. You will heal. This mask of death you wear, I do not want to see it. Enike wenda." It is not time for you to leave. You are still young. You have more to teach. We have our book to finish. You are my love. "Where did you take it?" "I know it was taken. This I know. Yes, I know." Does he think that someone has taken his book to the cave where the man who eats books lives and that he will eat his story? Is he afraid he will be swallowed up? It is dusk, and inside the bungalow there is the smell of incense. A small bell rings. Amu, who is my Ashan's wife, sits on the floor before a small room with its wooden doors open. She is chanting evening prayers while I am sitting on the outdoor porch, writing. I watch as Amu steps outside and places 3 lit wicks from a brass lamp on a low wall surrounding the garden of the ancestors. Om Narayana Shiva, Om Narayana Brahma, Om Narayana Krishna, Om Narayana Vishnu. 3 wicks, 3 lights, 3 wishes to warm you, Ashan. We are not ready for you to leave. She is not ready. I am not ready. You are not ready. Do ancestors hear our prayers? Do they hear bones rattle? I have been named by my Ashan. Although I am American and his family is a Malayali family in a Nagalasheri village, he has told them to call me Walyama. What is the meaning of my name? I have a confession to make. I have taken his book. It is a very daring thing to do. I am his trusted student and friend. I call him Ashan, teacher. I am his Shishyan, student. His book contains the history of an ancient and dying tradition, details of training, a proper account of performance, the account of the mythic stories, the account of my story, of our time together, the time we lived together. What am I doing? Why would I have a freak destroy the history of an ancient tradition? Why would I have the man who eats books eat my Ashan's legacy? It is a good question. I have no answer at all. I simply know that if I can find the man who eats books in the cave where I once saw him, he will realize the value hidden beneath my Ashan's words. He will eat his memories as food for his enlightenment. Nothing will be lost. Yes, that's it. I'm taking an offering. One man's life is food for another man's enlightenment. Isn't that enough? It is now just before dawn. Taking care not to wake the household, I place a shawl on my shoulders and slip sandals on my feet. I must leave before the door to the small room in Vedakapad house opens and morning prayers begin. I will go to the river temple where the oracle lives. He will know where the cave is, the cave of the man who eats books. Finding my way with a flashlight, I stop at the nearest village tea stall where a taxi driver is drinking tea. Do you know Parasini Temple? Ambellum, Parasini Ambellum, Ario? Neither the taxi driver nor the tea stall owner understands me. My name is Walyama, Ende Pere Walyama. My Kathakali Ashan's name is VP Ramakrishnan. I want to go to Parasini Temple. Please take me there. Suddenly, they are both interested. They exchange words. The taxi driver and the tea stall owner nod in agreement, and then the taxi driver motions for me to follow him. Madam, nomoku pokam, let us go. I follow the taxi driver along a dimly lit road. We join a flow of men and women walking to the temple. Some people look strangely at me, as I am clearly not Indian. Others take no notice of me at all. I ask the taxi driver, where are so many coming from? Pilgrims. Too many pilgrims walking from the coast. Some come with bones of a family member who has recently departed from this world. Bones which they place in the river of eternal rest. I do not carry bones. I have a book under my shawl. The taxi driver and I reach the entrance to a temple that seems to appear as if out of a cloud. There is a temple priest outside with marks of devotion on his forehead. The priest motions us inside. The temple is crowded with pilgrims vying for a space near the ceremonial area. I turn to the taxi driver asking, the oracle? He does not understand me, so I mime the oracle's crown and trembling movements. Oh, madame, Tayam, oracle, Tayam, yes, oracle, Tayam, when will he come? Ipol, warumo, I need to ask him a question. I have coins. I start to pull out the book, but I'm afraid. Just at that moment, drummers enter the area where tall lamps are blazing. There are flashes of shadow and light as the oracle circles. He wears a large headdress made with gold ornaments and a balloon-like skirt. His face is painted in an elaborate design of bright red and black. The drumming continues and ankle bells rattle with step dancing as he circles around and around. Suddenly, he plunges into the belly of the temple where we have all gathered. We pull back at first, and when the oracle finally stops in a standing position, everyone surges forward. He holds us back with a sword, which he swings until he nods, and a temple priest pushes one pilgrim forward, motioning the rest of us to stay back. The oracle is clearly possessed. The taxi driver explains to me that the gods speak through him and tells me what's happening. This man says, no children, wife's belly empty. He wants the oracle to make his wife's belly swell. This man says, my son is crippled like old man. He wants oracle to make son's body straight. There is more drumming and dancing. The oracle is absorbing what has been said. He thanks the gods and calls again for their help. Then the temple priest motions to the taxi driver to bring me forward. Madam, please, now is the time. You come, you ask him something. I don't know how to tell him in Malayalam. Malayalam wakarilla, I have no words. But there I am, standing right in front of the oracle, so I begin to gesture wildly. I mime, tearing and eating pages. I pull the book from beneath my shawl. The man who eats books, his cave, Wide, Ewide, his cave, his home, where is it? Ewide. Finally, the oracle seems to understand me. He pulls the taxi driver to him and whispers something in his ear, and then the oracle turns toward me. Yes. Yes? You understand me? You will tell me? Yes. Yes, I can go? Yes. Madam, give him dakshana, give him some coins. I fumble for coins and press them into the oracle's painted palm. His hand is burning. The taxi driver takes me by the arm and starts to pull me away. Yes! He said yes! The taxi driver leads me back through the crowd of pilgrims, back through the entrance door that opens to release us. Outside there is a moon and the sound of the river that ribbons past Parasini Temple. He leads me to an area for sleeping and hands me a mat to unfold, which I do, near a group of women. I place my book in a cloth bag and put it under my head to use for my pillow. It is early morning and still dark when the taxi driver wakes me. Madam, Samyam Ayi Puwa, it is time to go. We disappear into early morning darkness. There are sounds of an old Ambassador taxi. The road rises steeply above paddy fields of patchwork green and rises past the waterfalls that flow downstream to feed the river that ribbons past Parasini Temple. There are no tea stalls on this mountain road, no village shops, no signs of merchants, sadhu monks, or beggars. As the motor sputters to a stop, the car door slams and the taxi driver speaks. Madam, we must go this way, please. You follow me. The driver disappears over the edge of a steep decline. I follow a flickering light along a path of rough red rock and wet clay that sucks my sandaled feet dry. We stumble down a mountain to a cave with ancient memories. Early morning light reveals an opening in the brush. There is an entrance to a cave tall enough to stand in. Inside, there is a man bare-chested wearing a white cotton sarong and a light shawl around his shoulders. The man in the cave turns for a moment. He sees me and the taxi driver, who quickly disappears. Then he turns away and continues his morning rituals. He drinks water from a bowl. He sweeps the earthen floor with a hand-made broom. He stops near me and waits for me to move out of the way. I do. He sweeps where I have been standing and then turns to leave. I rush toward him to touch his feet as a sign of respect to keep him from leaving the cave. My teacher's book, please. Ashande Pustakam. I thrust the book toward him. He is not pleased. He appears to not understand and ignores me. I say to him, here, this is the only book I have, the only record, memories which he has written, handwritten in your language, in Malayalam. A great man, a great artist, a great teacher, my teacher. A great tradition is dying. My friend is dying, please. The man who eats books completely disregards me and leaves the cave. Sunlight is streaming into the cave where I have fallen asleep. The man who eats books is in the cave drinking water from his bowl. His voice wakes me. Perenda. Perenda. Pere. Alshan Vipiraman Nair Veda Capital's Nagalasheri village. Allah. Ningalude. Pere. My name? Pere Walyama. My name is Walyama. Walyamae. Walyamare Koduta. My Ashan gave me this name. Pinne Walyama. Ningalude Kata Ennike Wenam. My story? You want my story? But I have no book, no papers, nothing. Pustakam ilya. Pustakam andakanam. Words, modi, vishapunde. Hungry. I sit in stunned silence, staring at the man who eats books. He grows impatient and motions for me to speak. I begin mumbling awkwardly in Malayalam as the man who eats books starts to go to sleep. I bark out English words trying to keep the man's eyes open. Ashan, Shishan, I am his student, the only student of his heart. I mime gestures of two people coming together as one and pause, almost ready to cry. The man who eats books is impatient and motions for me to continue. Many years ago, I came here to your country and I found him. I studied everything he could teach me about Kathakali, his traditions, his teacher's traditions. I have performed with him. I know the stories, all the stories. But what good is this? I live in America. No one understands Kathakali stories in America. And now, here in India, it is the same. No one wants to study with great teachers. Only old ones know the stories. My Ashan, he is not old, but he is sick, he is weak, he is dying. No one is listening, and I live far away. That is why I have brought you his book. You will understand the importance. You will tell me what to do, how I can help him. Please. Once again, I try to give the man who eats books my book, but he seems to be dozing. Finally, he grabs the book, grabs a few pages, tears them from the book, crumples the pages, and throws them on the floor. Old story, new story, Wenham. A dream. I will tell you a dream, how I came to your country, to Kerala, to your cave. In my dream, I am in America, rolling in green grass to bare feet. So beautiful, I kiss them. When I look up, there is a warrior king dressed in layers of cloth. A crown of sun is on his head, his face a painted mask of Pacha, the green of Kerala, with waving brows of ebony and crimson lips smiling at me. He turns to go, and that is when I see his back. It's bare. He is an ordinary person like me. He will know the answer to my questions. I follow this dream to your country, to the capital. It is 25 years ago. We are all 25 years younger than we are now. I sit with a government official who is pouring tea. Yes, yes, madam, yes. You have sent me on the back of elephants to the Ram Lila. I have been to every festival procession, to circuses of crowded streets, to every concert hall, to all the theaters here in the capital, and each week we sit here and drink tea. Yes, yes, madam, yes. You do not understand. Weeks have passed. He is waiting. He is waiting for me. Madam, today I will take you to the International School for Kathakali. For what? Kathakali for foreigners, madam. At this school we accept some foreigners like you. No, Kathakali. What does it mean? Oh, yes, madam, Kathakali. Yes, yes. Well, what does it mean? The play of the story, madam. It is how our lives play out in the stories of the heroes, gods and goddesses, the demons of our country and your country as well, if you understand the language. What language? What language? The scene shifts to the entrance of a single-storied house, blazing white in the late morning sun. There are muffled sounds of drumming, cymbals, and cadences of Indian singing. The official and I stand at the gate of the house. A gatekeeper opens the entrance, bows, and ushers us in. We pass through several doors, and as we do, the sounds of drums, cymbals, and cadences of singing voices grow in volume. The last door opens, releasing a thunder of sound that vibrates muscle, tissue, and bones. 5 men are standing, bare chests dressed in white mundus that look like sarongs. 2 men with different large cone-shaped drums hanging from their shoulders. 2 striking cymbal sounds and singing in waves that rise and fall through claps of thunder. 1 man, the young Ashan, 25 years younger. His body, face, hands, and limbs moving in dance and gestures, his feet striking the floor with rhythms, drums, and cymbals that are talking. There are 2 chairs in the room against a wall where the official and I sit. I am motionless. The official beats out familiar Kathakali rhythms on his knee. The music and dance crescendos, and then it subsides. I stare at the young Ashan's feet and whisper, "His feet! Those are his feet!" "This is the language, madam. You can study this." "Ashan, she wishes to study." I am startled by an arrangement that is being made without consulting me. "Are you strong, madam? Ashan wants to know if you are strong. Kathakali is performed by men." Am I strong? Yes, I'm strong, very strong. The official communicates what I have said to Ashan, who nods and leaves. "Madam, Ashan says you can come to a Kathakali performance tonight. I will take you." I have no record in my journal of the first performance I saw. Only this: that morning, I saw his feet. That night, his painted face and crown, and when he turned on stage his back, it's bare. I found him! Yes! I am back in the White House, in a room bare except for a single chair, several rolled-up mats, a small brass lamp, a brass bowl, and a brass dish with flowers. It is several days later. I am sitting on the chair with journals and pens, ready to begin writing a new story. I jump up as the young Ashan enters, smiling. He asks, "Hindi?" No Hindi. "English?" No English. There is a long pause. The young Ashan is completely at ease. I am impatient and want action. "Here, the director of the academy told me to give you coins on the first day. It's a tradition, right?" I offer him a handful of coins that he looks at. He shakes his head in the Indian way of saying yes, but he does not take them. Damn, I didn't bring enough? I fish around for more coins while young Ashan unrolls 2 mats and lights the brass lamp. He motions for me to sit opposite him on the mat. He takes a paste of sandalwood and puts a mark on his forehead and then on mine. He places blossoms from the bowl of water behind his ear and motions so that he can do the same for me. I lean forward and then begin laughing. It's the kind of laugh that's a release of tension held for a long, long time. I shower coins all over the mat and continue to laugh uncontrollably. "I have been searching for you for so long. Do you know how many months? You sent me that dream, didn't you?" The young Ashan continues to look at me. "I have so many questions, but it's the stories I'm really after. Do you believe in them? I've always been fascinated by the old stuff. Greek myths, half god, half bird, ever since I was a kid. You act out those stories. I saw you on stage. You take it on. But you're an ordinary person, aren't you?" "I am a writer. In my country, America, India is hot. There are plenty of people interested in spiritual stuff, art, ancient traditions, anything they can get their hands on. There's a mystique about your country. I want to write a great story. We can write it together." I open my journal, ready to write down what he says. The young Ashan has risen from his mat and walks towards me. He looks at the page in my journal with the curiosity of a child and gently lifts the journal from my hands. Walking away, he studies the page. "My God, you read English. Now this will help a lot when we're writing the book." In slow motion, the young Ashan removes a single page from the journal. He carefully rolls the page into a cylinder, like a thin, fine cigarette. He walks to an oil lamp sitting on the floor and feeds it into the flame of the lamp. In a second, the cylinder is ash. "You do. That is enough." Rolling up my pants legs, I prepare for my first lesson. The young Ashan remains mostly silent and patient throughout, demonstrating and indicating that I should imitate him. I imitate him as best I can, but it is pretty comical. He demonstrates some martial arts exercises, moving in full leg extension from left to right. I make it down but have no muscle strength to get up, so I collapse on the floor. Finally, we stand facing each other, doing eye and facial muscle exercises. The young Ashan indicates that I should repeat the words and imitate the facial and body movements that he demonstrates. Dukam. Dukam. Sad. Sad. Raudra. Raudra. Angry. Angry. Shringara. Shringara. Love. Love? You've got to be kidding. After the lesson, the young Ashan joins me for tea at the local tea shop. On this particular day, sitting drinking tea, young Ashan asks a question in perfect English. Do you know who I am? You know English. Would you repeat that? He does not, but waits. Okay, you are Ramakrishnan. You speak perfect English and you didn't tell me. No, I am teacher. Your teacher. And you speak perfect English. Okay, do you know who I am? Shishyan, student. Right, I'm the student, you're the teacher, but I'm something else. I'm a writer, and we are making a book together. I show him book. Pustakam. Pustakam, book. Make together. Kuditu chenam. Make together. Yes, we are making a storybook together. The young Ashan demonstrates the full sentence in gesture. I imitate him and laugh. He does a comic imitation of a hip movie star striking a deal with a producer. We laugh together. Ashan has traveled everywhere in Europe, to North and South America many times, to Russia and Indonesia, performing Kathakali. He can switch from Lord Krishna to an LA police chief in an instant. Amazing actor, pure kid. He loves to laugh, to play, to drink tea, and he knows how to cook, which is great for me. He comes to the flat on Hanuman Road where I stay and teaches me to make one-pot curry. Sometimes he does not leave until dawn. So I've been sleeping downstairs at the Marwas, who own the place. They think it is a big deal to have Ashan around. And sometime soon I will not sleep downstairs, and I will know that I am the first woman that he has ever loved. Is this possible? On another day, we are back in the tea shop after class. I have gold in this pocket. No one wants gold. I want it. In this other pocket, I have a letter. I want it. Sure. Yes, sure. Letter from father. My father. My father. Marriage. My marriage. Marriage? Kalyanam. Kalyanam. Marriage. I think he is referring to me, and am startled, but very pleased. The official who is nearby in the tea shop steps into the conversation. Madam, your Ashan's father has sent him notice that his marriage has been arranged to a woman in his village. Ashan will return to his home in Kerala for his marriage. His marriage arranged? It is our custom here, madam. Custom? Yes, custom, I follow. The gold I can give you. Marriage I cannot. The young Ashan speaks to the official in Malayalam. Madam, your Ashan says his love for you does not change, it grows. Ashan says you can choose to go. Go? Where? Return to your country. But the dream he sent me, you sent me the dream, didn't you? I came for the gold. Future, Buddhamat Unde. The future, madam, may be difficult. I want the gold. We are making a book together. I give you gold. Madam, Ashan will take you to Kerala, the birthplace of Kathakali. The training near his home is for Kathakali students, not foreigners. Are you prepared? I look around for the young Ashan, but he is gone. Prepared? Prepared for what? Yes, I'm prepared. Of course I'm prepared. Now the young Ashan and my younger self, as well as the older Ashan and my present self, will sometimes appear simultaneously, much as memories from the past and the present interweave when you recall a particularly vivid part of your life. The young Ashan and I have moved from the capital in northern India to the southwest coast of Kerala, the birthplace of Kathakali and Ashan's native place. I have rented a bungalow not far from Ashan's village, and the all-day training in Kathakali has begun. Lessons go from the early morning until well into the night and are rigorous and demanding. In sharp contrast, the landscape of Kerala is breathtaking and welcoming. I write in my journal that my new home is rich and moist and green like sunlit grass, like the painted face of the Kathakali figure in my dream. My bungalow is soft, with the shade of palms and banana leaves that hide me and all the villagers from the eye of the sun flaming so close to the equator. The land is tall with stands of coconut, taller still with mountain ghats where gods send rivers cascading down into valleys. Rivers rise and fall with monsoon rains that wash temple steps where pilgrims bathe and thread like veins for paddy fields to drink. Secrets are hidden behind groves of green. Ancestors whisper secrets at dark along moss-covered pathways. I follow the night lamps swinging, follow the Malayali men, women, and children, the sounds of drumming to the temple courtyard, where the Kathakali story of King Nala and his beloved will be performed all night under the palm leaf-covered stage with stars and oil lamps for light. Young Ashan is training me. He stands behind a small hardwood table and pounds out the rhythm. I can't remember the steps or the rhythms, and I am fumbling and sweating. It is very hot. Again, I cannot learn this way, the way you are teaching me. Ini, again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Look, I told you I can't. Ini, again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm not a soldier. I'm a writer. I'm a woman. Not soldier, not writer, not woman, student. I am tired, and tears begin to roll down my cheeks, meeting the sweat on my body. Will you listen to me just once? Again. 1, 2, 3. Now he is waving the stick at me. The heavy wooden stick slips from his sweating hands and rolls across the floor. Ini, stop! Stop ordering me! I pick up the stick and throw it at him, striking his leg. He's astonished by my action. Blood begins to trickle from his leg. Good. Not good. Several months have passed. The lessons continue. In an afternoon break, I'm sitting on a mat, bungalow, sifting through aerograms from America. My friends, they all say the same thing. Come home. Take a break. Nothing should be this hard if it's the right thing. Here's a good one. My advice, rethink this dream thing. Who is this guy anyway? You may not get English newspapers in your village, but it's heating up politically between our countries. It's a good time to think about getting out, coming home. I bury the aerograms in my other papers and books and begin practicing Kathakali by myself in my bungalow. Young Ashan enters and watches me. He demonstrates several movements and adjusts some of my postures. Time jumps forward. I am now 25 years older than I was before. I am sitting at a desk in the room of the old Ashan who is sick. I remember my early days of training when I memorized his face, the line, the shape, the rhythms of his body. That is the job of a student. And the gift of a lover. Back to the past. We witness the rigor of the young Ashan's teaching and also see that I am making progress, so there is less friction between us. You teach me the faces of anger, love, sadness, joy, wonder. You teach me all their stories. Shakti Venam. Shakti. Shakti. You've said this to me so many times when I become discouraged, when I am slow to learn. Shakti, what does it mean? Courage, power, strength. I need Shakti. We jump forward 25 years to the present. I remind the old Ashan. I ask him, Shakti, that is what you taught me. Then why are you so sick now, Ashan? Why? You are young, still young. Shakti unde, you have courage. We have our book to finish. There is more for you to teach. There is more.
Shakti la, I do not have it. Shakti kodatu, I gave it to you.
Venda, take it back. Take back your Shakti. I don't want it. We have more work to do.
Allah, make something new with my Shakti. Something new. Potya Chenam. Rankulu, let me sleep.
Sleep, dear friend. Sleep. And while you sleep, I will tell you stories so that when you wake, you will leave this room. You will eat food again and walk into the garden and play with the children in the sunlight. Ashane, I remember you in the distance, walking along narrow footpaths that mark the plots of paddy fields, folding your white mundu into your waist so that the ribboned edge will not catch the mud splash of frogs jumping to hide in the paddy drinking wetness. Your colorless white shirt blows in the wind like a sail in the morning breeze that has not yet tasted heat or the heaviness of sweat. I hold your figure in my hand. You are that far distant. And in my other hand, I send the village children running toward you and the road to the village where the school teacher is waiting for them. And Gita, their older sister who is 12, moves the children forward past you smiling and tells you that she has seen me this morning and that I am waiting for you. You travel toward me growing larger and then disappear behind green groves. You appear at the gate smiling. I always wish to catch your smile. You are like a child. You love the face of the sun. You and I are both so pleased to be alive. I bring the young Ashan tea while he smokes a bidi, a tobacco leaf-wrapped cigarette.
Samyamai.
Yes, time to begin. And as we begin each day, I dream of the book we will write, of the Kathakali school I will help you build, of the foreigners who will come to study, and the home. I will build a bungalow near you. We receive word that the official from the capital has arrived for a visit. He comes to the bungalow and watches as the young Ashan and I practice. The young Ashan demonstrates a new section of a padam, a complex dance that I execute almost perfectly.
Madam, when will you complete your Kathakali debut? Time, it is moving quickly.
Wa Guruvayur Ambelam in August.
Ah, your debut at Guruvayur Temple. Madam, you are fortunate. Guruvayur Ambelam is an auspicious place for you to perform. Under normal circumstances, this is not possible for foreigners.
You will come? You must come. Varunum.
Ah, Nyan Varum, I will come.
Time shifts forward with the sound of drumming that signals a Kathakali performance. The scene transforms with pilgrims who create a Kathakali stage. Kathakali singers step onto the stage joined by 2 drummers. We see the busy backstage as costume assistants are dressing the young Ashan and me. Our faces are already painted. I am about to put a crown on my head. I lean down to touch the young Ashan's feet, and he helps place and tie the crown on my head. The curtain lowers to reveal two performers in full Kathakali costume and makeup. The official watches from the periphery. Time shifts again, fading from the Kathakali performance to old Ashan's bungalow. Amu is chanting prayers. A man in uniform appears at the bungalow. It is a government police officer. Ashan tells me to be calm.
Madam, I have papers from the government of India. Your visa has expired. Application for renewal has been rejected. The consulate of the United States is scheduled to close. You have 30 days to leave the country. After 30 days, you are subject to arrest and sentencing.
He hands me papers, salutes, and leaves. I remember I watched him leave and disappear along the moss-covered path. I did not watch him cross the paddy fields to the road. I leave too. I walk to the garden of the ancestors near the small pond with lotus flowers where I bathe with the children who live in the bungalow next door. There I weep, as I have wept so many times when I could not remember the mudras, the rhythms, the Kathakali gestures. I do not hear Ashan come up behind me. He lifts me by my shoulders and turns me to face him.
Enda,
you are holding me together as I fall into the space that will gently separate us.
Shakti Wenam,
Courage?
Shakti Undu,
Do I have it?
Undu,
Yes, I have it somewhere.
every day. Where?
Who is asking me? My teacher? My lover? My friend who is dying?
Where?
In my heart.
Shakti every day.
In my heart. Manase in my heart. What does Manase Shakti mean? My mother says love needs challenge. It cannot grow without it. Ramakrishna says if there are two ways to do something, choose the one more difficult. You will learn more. I do not want to learn. Take back your gold. Love, you see, has grown too much. I pack my suitcase and make plans for a future that we cannot know. I promise Ashan that I will return when there is peace between our countries. Together we will build a school for foreigners near his bungalow. He tells me that I am a member of his family. Satyam Tane. That is the truth, he tells me, not a promise. Satyam Tane. What is the truth? What is a promise? Only love knows. I do not return. When I am back in my country, I experience sickness in my American family. Years of separation from my Ashan follow with a few visits to India, and sometimes he comes to America. During those times, we laugh, we study, sometimes we perform together. Ashan, Amu have children. Years later, I marry. We make different stories in our separate countries. Without a school, Ashan's life as a Kathakali artist is very difficult. Every time I return to Kerala, I see the sun growing dim over the rich green. I watch a fog cover the village where I once lived. I see the death of the people who believed in the stories of the gods and goddesses, who followed the sounds of drumming to the temple to see the play of Kathakali stories. I see the Ashan's sickness begin to grow because fewer and fewer people understand the language of his stories, the language that he taught me, the language that he loves, that he lives to teach and perform. The older Ashan is sick but has risen from his bed and stands in the doorway behind me. I turn the pages of a large black book of photographs. Ashane, photo noku, remember? It is a photo from the early years outside my bungalow. See, you are smiling. Your arms are open to the sunlight. Everything is possible. Or Malay, have you forgotten? Come, tell me, what is the meaning of this photograph? Arine de Parayanam. Looking at the photo, the older Ashan lifts his gaze upward, showing the Kathakali Raza of Moksham, or freedom and enlightenment, on his face and with gesture. Moksham. Freedom. Freedom?
Oh, freedom. For student, for teacher, for family, for friend. Last lesson. Final story. Kata Cariño. Story finished.
The older Ashan touches my heart and then his heart. He brings his fingers together with a circle around him and then turns and disappears into the bungalow. In the cave of the man who eats books, a light from a small oil lamp flickers across his face. He appears to have been dozing, but begins to stir. I ask him, have I failed my Ashan? Tell me the truth. Satyam Parayanam. Have I failed him? He rouses himself and answers me in perfect English.
Fail? Satyam bueno. Do you want the truth? No, madam, you have not failed him. You have eaten your Ashan stories, and I have eaten yours. A good meal. For him, for you, and for me, a very good meal. And for the ancestors, Valyama, a good offering. You have swallowed the gods and goddesses. They live inside you. The old is eaten up. Nothing will be lost. You and your Ashan have finished your book. Go back to the village. The ancestors have already called your Ashan. He is free to go. He taught you well. And so, it is the time for me to take my leave of you. Nyan poteato.
The man who eats books leaves through the opening of the cave, disappearing into darkness. Once, a long time ago, an American woman lived with many questions about the gods and heroes, kings and queens. Far away were those who heard the foreigner asking questions. They sent her dreams, which she followed to a country where the language of the gods was still alive. There she met love for the first time. How long did she stay? Decades? Or was it simply the blink of an eye? I do not know. Only this: she learned all that she was able to learn about love and about stories. Then she left. Soon after, the door to the country where the gods were still alive began to close, and memories of their language began to fade. But the American woman did not forget. Ashane, in the mirror of the river where your bones are sleeping, I see the pictures of my life and yours, the masks and all the stories, floating on the face of the waves that flow to the ocean, where the sun disappears into darkness until another day, when another story is born.